Welcome to the Professionals of the Inland Empire show with your host, John Tulac.
So hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Professionals of the Inland Empire, affectionately known as PI. I'm John Tulac, international business attorney located in Claremont, California, and it's been my privilege to bring to you each episode two, sometimes one, outstanding professional in the inland serving the business community in a variety of ways in a variety of fields. So we've talked to accountants and we've talked to bankers, and well, we've got bankers coming up. We've got lawyers and marketing people and so on. Today, we have IT people on, and that's really important to every business, large or small today, because you just can't get by like I did when I was first in practice. There was no such thing as an IT department when I was in practice first. We won't say how long ago that was. But today it's absolutely essential that you have good IT, and that means you need good IT people to help you do your business well. And today I'm happy to feature two really outstanding experts in their field to talk to you about matters of IT and cybersecurity and the crazy things that can happen if you are not well prepared. So welcome today to Shantae Hansen from VC3 and Eddie Darwan. It's good to have you here. Welcome to the podcast, and everybody in the audience. It's time for a slice of pie. Here we go. Shantae, let's start with you. Tell us about who you are and what you do and how you got there.
I will do. I thought the first question was going to be what my favorite pie is.
Oh, well, you can go for that. we might take up the rest of the podcast with that topic.
Okay, so apple pie, and I'm Shantae, of course, like you mentioned, with VC3. VC3 is a leading IT service provider. We specialize in cybersecurity, cloud solution, managed IT for, we really work with a lot of local government agencies and small to mid-sized businesses. How I got here, I've been here now a little over 7 years, and it all started with my mom working for a very small managed service provider. Actually, my mom always worked in IT, and I always made fun of her. No offense, Eddie, but I would say, how do you work with a bunch of computer nerds all day? And here I am, one of them now. So yeah, been in different industries before, but been here now 7 years and really love it and love educating and teaching people all the things that are out there and how to keep them safe, ideally.
Super. And Eddie, let's get your story. How did you get to where you are and what do you do?
All right. Well, I guess since we're starting out with a slice of pie, pecan pie is my go-to. But
we'll
been in IT. I've been in IT way too long. I don't want to age myself here, but I've been a geek at heart, and I've loved technology since then. And working for corporate America just didn't work out for me, so we ended up starting our own little IT firm. We serve small businesses and mid-sized companies as well. Trying to get into the government sector, but it's a little bit challenging, a little bit slow. But we do specialize in white glove service and providing managed IT and cybersecurity. We always provide what you need and when you need it, as opposed to, hey, just buy this whole shebang because it's the hottest thing right now. So we get you what you need.
So that you use a good term, shebang. Yeah, what is the IT shebang today? You know, especially if you're on the smaller sized to medium sized company, and obviously you have to grow your IT as you grow your company. So let's start with basics, Eddie. What are the basics, and then how do you build on that foundation?
Basics is definitely just, we have to realize that technology is a part of our lives now, right? I mean, let's talk about the phone real quick, right? That's attached to us nowadays. So perimeter firewalls and just protecting the perimeter is no longer enough. The basics is, how do you protect you? How do you protect the devices that you use? What kind of updates that you're managing? Because yes, devices need updates. And the reason why they need updates is because there's always security vulnerabilities that these hackers find. So company then releases updates to make sure that those vulnerabilities gets patched. The question is, how often should you check for the updates? And that's where we come in and help you. Antivirus, endpoint detection and response also is required nowadays. And just having that, I don't know, I'm going to use this fancy geeky word, zero trust is a hot thing right now, where you just got to not trust everything, validate. So yeah, the basic, the shebang, I guess, John, to answer your question, is patch management for your devices, basic antivirus. And again, I'm going to shoot myself in the foot by saying this. That's not enough anymore. Strong passwords, MFA is key, and just enabling everything. At least start with those.
Okay, so that's a good start. And I want to use those technical terms like shebang properly. So I just have to take my guidance from the experts. So Shantae, some people will remember Accent Computer Solutions before it was bought out. And Accent had a particular niche and focus more on the big companies. That obviously, sometimes they will have a whole IT department and it's still not enough. So how did we get there? How did we get to the place where when I had a Mac, I could really learn everything for the longest time until around about 2000 or so? It just became impossible to know everything anymore.
Yeah, it just keeps growing. It just keeps changing. And unfortunately, sometimes the smartest people are the bad guys, right? So they tend to be ahead of the curve. And so it stays very hard for the average person or company to stay ahead of on their own. So like you said, we work with a lot of clients that are very large and they have a whole department, but their department is still only 4 or 5 people. And with a large company, 4 or 5 people sometimes still isn't enough either to keep everything safe and secure. And they know a lot in one area, but somebody else might know a lot over here, and then there's a gap. And so what we try to do is just fill that gap to help them. One thing I wanted to add to with like what's the bare minimum or what's the basics, a good thing to look at, I guess I would say, if you're just a small business, a small provider on your own, is go to your insurance provider and look at what the cyber insurance requirements are to even qualify for the insurance. And that's a great starting point because it will tell you pretty much everything Eddie just said. You have to have the firewall, you have to have the endpoint detection and response. You have to train your employees, the know befores, the security awareness training, things like that are really good it's a good starting point to give you kind of a baseline.
So that's a good point. That's a really good tip is look at your insurance. And actually you can talk with your insurance people too, because they don't want you to have a claim. So they will help you do some of this sometimes so that they don't get a claim.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, you can't know everything because things keep changing so much. Software, there's a new release sometimes every year or every other year, sometimes even more often than that. I think Zoom people have nothing better to do than to give you an upgrade package every other week. It just seems overwhelming, and especially if you're a small business owner, it's impossible to keep up, and you're not going to have your own in-house IT person. So they need to have experts like you at the ready to help with the problems. And I'll give you one example. I was going to teach a course for anti-sexual harassment, required training at a high school. And so we got it all set up, and I go to bring up the material, and then I've got a couple of videos to show. The first video freezes. The firewall shut it off because it had sexual content. And nobody thought about that in advance.
Yeah.
It's not that there was anything graphic in it, but it was, you need, what constitutes harassment. The video was 20 examples that basically shut down the rest of the PowerPoint presentation.
IT wasn't on call. They couldn't create.
They didn't have they had somebody there had no clue how to deal with that.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Wow. Well, the tool did its job then.
I was going to say, good job for the school for having a place, but
school is very safe from outside influences, but who knows what they do to each other.
It's a different topic.
Yeah.
So I guess the question that leads to is, you don't know what you don't know, so you usually don't know when to call until it's too late. And from a preventive law standpoint, I don't like that. I want people to know that they need to be proactive in integrating IT and all the protections properly into their systems. So
There is a
shoot,
checklist, yes.
let's try it again. Okay, let's go. How do you implement a checklist?
Again, you could download these checklists everywhere. AI can actually write one up for you too. But honestly, it's just good cyber hygiene. Awareness, I think, is key. I know Shantae mentioned firewalls, and we discussed that, and being aware and just knowing before anything hits. Um, Awareness is key, just with everything else. But with awareness, there is still human imperfections, right? We all make mistakes. Look, I admit it. I still click on the link sometimes because of my busyness. I'm expecting a package. I get this email from FedEx, like, oh, FedEx finally here. I click on it, and it's like issues after issues. But that's why we have layers of defense as well, to make sure that when we accidentally do things, there's another layer that actually protects it. That's something to definitely think about. So it's not just a checklist to keep your cyber hygiene and to keep employees safe, but it's also the IT checklist for the geeky side, like what kind of tools and the science we need to really protect it. Just like having multiple locks on your door, right? Why should we have multiple locks on your door? Same concept, just different layers of protection.
Yeah, we definitely use that to protect that home analogy, right? Like, do you want your door locked? Do you want your alarm set? Do you want a security guard? Do you want a moat? How secure do you want to be to where you can sleep at night, right? So there's a ton of layers, and because of compliance, some people have to implement every layer. Some people don't have the compliance needs or requirements, but they still want all the layers because they want to feel good at night. And it's about finding that. We'll say the basics and the bare minimum, and then make recommendations. But what's going to make each, you know, you know, owner or whoever it may be, city manager, whatever it is, feel good. When they go to sleep. That's where we get them.
Right. That peace of mind is obviously worth something. Again, the proactive approach to keeping bad things from happening is always to be preferred than to solve the problem after the fact. But how do we do that in such a fast-changing world where literally, as you said, the bad guys are always seemingly one step ahead of the good guys coming up with some new scheme to scam us? So, how do we do that vigilance against all the possible creative ways that they're out to get us?
Yeah.
What are best practices to deal with cyber threats? I guess is my question.
Well, if I could jump in on that, I think it just goes back to the old saying, expect the best, prepare for the worst. Um, we always just tell companies, have an incident response plan ready. Be ready to when that does happen. We don't wish it to happen, but it may happen. I wish I can say like we're going to be protected completely from every attack out there. No, that's not true, because there's a lot of the human element, and there's also now the AI driven elements. So it's all science and tools that are attacking us. So there's really nothing that we can do about that. Or let me rephrase that. There's really nothing too vigilant that we can stay protecting ourselves in that. But there are just ways, like again, the layers is one of the things. If it breaks down one layer, it can go through. It won't, it shouldn't penetrate the second layer, right? And then if it does penetrate that, it shouldn't penetrate the third layer, and so on and so forth. Now there are, again, to what Shantae had said, compliance requirements needs a backup for the backup for the backup. Most small businesses don't need that. You don't need to have that many like layers in place. But more than likely though, the human firewall element is the key, is the awareness, knowing that, hey, this sounds fishy, this is a scam, and just reporting it directly to IT so their security ops can actually jump in and do all these things just to make sure that there's no dormant malwares or anything that got leaked into the network. That's the key. Us IT guys, again, we can rely on so many alerts, but the best alert is the user, hey, I think I accidentally clicked on something.
Mhm.
That way we can isolate things right away and just be able to contain it as much as possible.
Yeah,
Okay,
I would say
that's
we kind
common
of add,
sense.
oh, sorry. We kind of have three columns. We say there's like protect, that's the preventative, put it tools in place. Then there's the detect, because if it got through, how do we detect it? And then there's the respond, the backups. Okay, here's how we fix it. So there's different tools and different policies to put in place in each one of those buckets, we would say. So there's tools under each bucket and there's policies under each bucket that you kind of have to be prepared for all phases.
I like that description, protect, detect, and response. I mean, that's really kind of the regulatory thing for a whole lot of different
Mhm.
sectors.
Yeah.
And it starts internally. I mean, some of it is just common sense. It's like if you've never seen this before and it's telling you to pay something, you don't want to click on it. If it says you have, outstanding, traffic tickets in California, and then there's not a website or a directive that takes you to something that's clearly California, that's fake. It's just that, even business people who are busy don't look at those small details. And then, of course, it's horrible how some of these smaller dollar scams that can lead to big dollars are on the people who can least afford to lose any money, seniors and so on. So it starts internally with the
Mhm.
protection, and common sense goes a long way. Uh, Keeping up, is there a place where you turn to kind of keep up on the latest scams, or is this still like across all different platforms and agencies and so on? You have to look all over the place.
I know for me internally, we have a team that kind of we have a chat in house that kind of just tells us some of the newest things going on in different, again, like I said, with working with local government, it'll be oop this city, oop this town, whatever it might be. But I don't know, Eddie, if you have any websites you use or that kind of sends you messages to let you know?
Well, we have RSS feeds that actually just feeds on local attacks or local hacks that happen. There's really not much out there, John, to be honest. It's partnering up with the right people, right? So I have an accountant. I know I'm supposed to be good at math, but I'm not, believe me. So I don't like numbers. And I have a partner. I partnered up with an accounting company that can actually handle our books and handle everything for us. They're the ones that's keeping up to date with all the fancy new laws and tax laws that come out. I can't keep up with it. All I tell them is a goal that I have is to make sure that we pay the least amount of taxes. Hopefully, I could say that here, and just keep everything afloat as possible. Budgets are aligned and whatnot. Again, I just set goals, and I think that's what every business owner should understand too. Like, hey, technology is a part of our lives now, right? And technology is helping us grow. Partner up with the right people just to say, like, hey, I just want to make sure this thing is running optimally. I want to make sure that this thing's protected at all costs, and I want to make sure that if something does happen, we can recover from it. So we just have to trust the geeks to really do the geeky stuff,
Mhm.
the bean counters to do the bean counter stuff. And with you as a lawyer, there's so many laws that you have to come up with. International laws are changing by the minute. So how do you keep up with it, right? You obviously have some ways to keep up with those.
It's a big part of what I do. And again, in a narrow niche like that, it's a lot easier, but it's still overwhelming. And there's no
Mhm.
way you can cover everything, on an ongoing basis. But then when the issue comes up, you know where to look. And
Mhm.
that's a key. And oh, by the way, Eddie, you're okay tax-wise. Tax avoidance, using legal techniques is okay. Tax evasion is illegal. They'll come knocking
I
on your
didn't
door.
use that word.
You're good. You're good.
I
So
think something, oh, sorry. I was just going to
go
say, I
ahead.
think maybe a challenge that I think that we run into is we're still dealing with CEOs and CFOs that are of the era when everything was written down when they started, right? And so accepting it can be a challenge sometimes. And, they just think it's a money grab. I mean, we all think Windows is just right. I have to update every year now, right? What you said, whatever it is, like it feels like it's just constantly asking for more money versus it is going to protect you though. Like it is to keep you safe, and I think that's the part that maybe there's a struggle sometimes. But yeah, and another thing too that, where do you learn things or how do you know what's out there? It's we partner with these companies that are the tools too, right? So we have them that are finding those 0-day threats and they're informing us because they know we're using their tools to manage, 1,000 companies, endpoints, whatever it might be. So that's another way to kind of learn of what's out there.
Okay, well that's good to know. I mean, certainly some of these things are so incredibly damaging if they manage to get into your system, like they hijack somebody's email inside a company, and then next thing you know, the invoices are being paid to a fake company because they've been authorized on the inside. I mean, that's just awful. It's like you trust your email because you live, eat, and breathe stuff on email today. It's the way we communicate. Is there any developing strategy for protecting against that particular form of invasion that's emerging that we can
Well,
count on?
Eddie, I mean, I know one thing we always say is turn off auto forward, right? Because a lot of the times what they're doing is they're mimicking the email, but and having it forward to their own. And if you have auto forward off, they can't do that. Obviously there's other ways they can get in there and they can literally be in the actual account too. But a lot of the times what they're doing is hitting auto forward and then it's going to theirs and not yours, and you can't even see it. So that's one simple thing. But Eddie, there's all kinds of other. I mean, what MFA is one of the tools that could help with that.
Yeah. Well, again, enable MFA wherever, whenever possible. That's period end of story. There.
Describe what that is for anybody who doesn't know the acronym.
Oh, I'm sorry. Multi-factor authentication, or a cool fancy geeky word is 2FA as well, for two-factor authentication.
Okay.
It's when you log in and it annoyingly sends you a text and you're like, "Where's my phone?" Just so you could validate. Security is an inconvenience, but we need this now. That's just unfortunate in how it is. And even passwords have gotten more complex. It's not even, I can't use the word password anymore. It's not word, it's passphrase.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
with all the funky characters and all that. But I hate to admit this, John, the number one issue still that how companies get breaches is through email, through phishing. So you need to be aware. There needs to be some awareness going on. There's actually these recent hacks. I don't know, Shantae, if you saw it, but they actually spoof your internal email. So it passes through multiple layers of defense, that tool wise, it passes through that. And without the person actually reading it and saying, like, okay, this is a valid email from our company, but Mike would never say this. Like, well, without that awareness and to pick up the phone and just like, hey, can I validate with you that you just sent me that email? Um, you'll be breached. So we have, I think, again, going back, human firewall awareness. It's knowing, that's key.
And
Okay.
have zero trust, like you said, zero trust. Call, click the button, click you think it's fake, and let your IT department tell you, no, that was legit, whatever it might be. Those things are always very helpful.
Yeah, better safe than sorry. When in doubt, inquire, right?
Hmm.
That makes perfect sense to me. What about these more secure email systems like Proton and ones based on blockchain? Should big companies be migrating their email systems to something like that?
I don't know about the blockchain or Proton emails. Again, emails will always be emails. It's just communication that we're gonna be accustomed to. It's layering up that protection, right? Email is, I don't know, I'm gonna get geeky here. It goes inbound and outbound. Now, through those inbound and outbound processes, there are layers that we can actually protect you to ensure that those are valid emails coming in and coming out. Um, I would have to research more on that other email. That, I mean, I didn't realize email has a blockchain option to it, but I don't know if that's going to even protect it. I mean, let's be honest. It's yeah,
Proton is I think a Swiss-based
Yeah.
email system, which is not, as I understand it, based on blockchain. But if there's a blockchain open site, like OpenAI, where all these developers put up free programs, and there is an email program up there that you can get to that's supposed to be impervious, but I think nobody knows about it.
yeah, and
Except geeks like me.
Yeah.
And I don't use it.
we have to be careful too about open source solutions, right? Free tools and all that. It's free because you're the product, not the
Right.
actual tool.
Yeah.
You're at least the guinea pigs.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I would say I
I have
have
a
to do a
question
little more
that
research into that too. I haven't learned about the Proton from our team yet.
okay. So all right, we have a homework assignment. Let's all see what
Yeah.
there's the old professor in me speaking. So as we were talking, it occurred to me, maybe we have to change our defense. And I'm thinking of something that's come up in terms of Taiwan and the defense of this small island against a much bigger potential adversary. And the phrase that's being used is a porcupine defense, that it becomes so prickly, the defense becomes so prickly, and maybe with some offensive capability as well, that it can defend itself against an attacker. So are you aware of any system where you can defend by also going back on offense if someone tries to hack you? It triggers a counteroffensive. I mean, I see novel potential here.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
That does sound interesting. Off the bat, no.
Yeah.
They're because the way they work too, is they're casting out the net, right?
Mhm.
Meaning when they cast out the net, they're obviously being safe. They're using IP spoofers here and there. So attacking back may just honestly be a waste of time. Even with AI just going back at it, back and forth, it's still going to be a waste of time. We can only unfortunately defend as is. As that is cool though, prickly defense and a porcupine defense where they do get attacked. If you do plan an attack and you get hurt yourself, I think that'd be great. But
Way to set a trap. Yeah. I wonder.
yeah, I know that if when breaches do happen, or when there are attempts of breaches that happen, if you have that proper secure ops center, they could in turn just start figuring out their research, and if they want to do attack, they'll attack directly. But yeah, not I don't know of any solutions right off the bat that can actually attack back. That would be cool.
Well, if you come up with something and you actually make it work, I want royalties. So
Yeah, exactly.
Deal.
just putting it on the record here, that's all.
Hey, I mean, polymorphic malware is hot right now. That's an AI driven, just trying to attack all the different layers. It's insane, and it does it in like milliseconds.
That's to me that's the remarkable thing is how fast this stuff works. It's faster than humans can react to it,
Mhm.
which is again what makes it so difficult to defend, especially on a systemic attack against an institution. You may not even know what's hitting you for seconds, and seconds
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
eternity.
Sometimes that's true.
In
Yeah.
this world. And so yeah, we're having a little fun here at the
Uh-oh.
end, but I want to bring it back to the series to stay state of the art to protect yourselves. Okay, well, I see we're about the end of our time. I see the internet is being wobbly again. I want to thank my two guests who are real experts, Shantae Hansen and Eddie Darwan, for a fascinating half hour. Please listen to them, follow their advice, and be safe out there, ladies and gentlemen. So long for now from Professionals of the Inland Empire.
Thanks for watching or listening to, depending on the case, the Professionals of the Inland Empire show with your host, John W. Tulac. If you have a suggestion for a guest, email him at jwtulac, that's JWTULAC, @gmail.com. jwtulac @gmail.com.